We're watching something truly dangerous unfold, and it's happening right out in the open. Senator Mark Kelly has doubled down again, telling U.S. service members they should decide for themselves whether an order from the President of the United States or the Secretary of War is legal. He's doing it on national television without hesitation, without caution, and without understanding what he's actually saying. And that's not even the worst part. Kelly is now pushing a misleading narrative about a supposed second strike in the Caribbean, even though he wasn't in the chain of command, he wasn't in the briefing, and he wasn't on the ground, and he has no idea what he's talking about. This is another fake news narrative that the left is pushing. He keeps talking and talking and talking, and every time he opens his mouth, he widens the gap between lawful authority and political grandstanding. What happens when politicians encourage troops to second-guess orders in real time, guys? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments, but do you think a senator should ever tell service members to judge orders on the fly? This is where tonight's story begins. So my name's Tom, I'm with the Daily Beltway, and I'm also a White House correspondent for the Next News Network. And before we go any further, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're a growing channel. Every like, comment, and subscription helps us reach more people who want the real news without the games. So Senator Mark Kelly went on Meet the Press this morning and repeated word for word the same message he's been pushing for weeks, that troops can refuse orders based on their own split-second judgment. That's not including the 50 attorneys that it goes through before it even reaches them. He even tried to lean on his old service record to justify it, while ignoring the actual law service members must follow. Watch.
You can certainly go to the judge, advocate generals, the lawyers, and have a discussion about it. If you don't have time, you just say simply, I'm not going to do that. That's against the law.
It puts a lot of burden on the troops to make a decision in real time.
It puts a tremendous amount of burden on officers in the military, but that is their responsibility, and they can figure out, a reasonable person can tell something that is legal and something that is illegal.
That is disrupting the entire chain of command and putting everybody around them at risk.
So would you refuse these specific orders to strike drug boats if you were still in uniform?
Well, the difference between the initial strike and what is being reported, as a second strike, and those things are different. I think this administration has tied themselves in knots, the explanations that we have received on how this is all legal. And I was saying weeks ago, my concern is with the service members, that we're gonna put these individuals in a really, really tough decision, in a tough place. And they may find out, down the road that they did something that is illegal. It is not fair to them. That's why we need presidents and Secretary of Defense who understand the Constitution and understand the rule of law and have more respect for the Constitution and the country and service members than the whims of a president.
He sat there and he threatened the military members, saying, hey, listen, one day we're going to hold you guys accountable. He's creating that doubt. He's creating that seditious conspiracy for these people to not follow orders. And right after that clip, Kelly pivoted into his latest claim that there was something different or questionable about a second strike following a drug boat hit. It didn't happen. He doesn't know about it. He's not in the room. He's not part of the decision chain. He's reading something somebody posted online, and he's absolutely not in a position to accuse operators of wrongdoing while hiding behind political language. Service members don't get to freelance their own legal interpretations during operations. There is a structured review process. There are judges, advocate officers, there are legal checks, and the entire system exists to protect them and protect our nation. So when a sitting senator tells troops to break that structure, and he does it publicly, repeatedly, and deliberately, that's not speaking truth. That is dangerously close to encouraging insubordination. And that's where 18 U.S.C. 2387 was written to address. And here's where you guys come in. Do you think Kelly crosses the line by telling troops to ignore the chain of command? Drop your thoughts below. I think it does. And this is where it all changes. Kelly didn't walk any of it back. He didn't soften the message. He didn't clarify anything. He doubled down. Again, he insisted a reasonable person can just tell when an order is illegal, as if battlefield operators have time to pull out a law textbook between missile volleys. This is so stupid. Meanwhile, the Trump administration, the Pentagon, and military leadership are focused on one thing: stop the drug-running networks that have killed tens of thousands of Americans, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans. The chain of command exists to make those missions legal, coordinated, and effective. The danger here isn't that what Kelly said, it's the example he sets. If troops followed his advice, missions would collapse, units would fracture, and the entire military structure that keeps this republic safe would be at risk. If you guys got value from this update, please tap subscribe. My opinion is next. Also, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us reach more Americans who still care about truth, order, and country. So here's my view. In our nation, in our republic, every part of the military command structure is designed to prevent confusion. Orders can move down through a clear chain. Legal reviews move upward when needed. And anyone who has ever worn the uniform knows that discipline is built on trust. Trust that the officer above you isn't freelancing. Trust that your leaders are accountable. And trust that the system protects the mission. When a senator undermines that structure, even subtly, it creates cracks in a foundation we cannot afford to weaken. Kelly knows the weight of his words. He knows the influence he is carrying. But instead of caution, he chose performance. Instead of clarity, he chose chaos. And instead of respecting the chain of command, he chose to provoke doubt right when our country is confronting real threats. And every American, and especially every service member, deserves leaders who strengthen the republic, not confuse the people sworn to defend it. What you're doing is seditious conspiracy for treason. It's just bad. They need to go to jail for this. So stay aware, stay informed, and stay vigilant. And if you're a member of the military, trust your officers appointed above you. Only if it's something insane and you're on the ground and they're telling you to do something, whatever, that's when you question it. But if you're having standing orders that are involving entire fleets, it's gone through enough legal review, guys. God bless.